Good morning, everybody. How are you doing today? Crystal from the Energetic Alchemist here. And I wanted to talk to you guys about a couple of things today. First, I want to discuss the energies at hand, and then I want to kind of move into a topic that me and another light worker were discussing this morning that I think is really relevant right now, and it needs to be shared. So first things first, happy beginning of April. March was a very high energetic time for all of us. A lot of us had this information coming in about the event and the high energies and all of these solar flares. And there was a lot of expectations surrounding all of that. And the energy was really high and you could feel it. It was palpable. A lot of people were seeing a lot of different new things. You could just really feel the energy shifting. And now that we have moved into April and we are kind of settling in, we're finding ourselves in a little bit more of a stable energy where it doesn't feel so blossoming, if you will. This is the ebb and flow of what's going on right now. This is the energy of these waves that are really coming in and penetrating the earth and our lives and our energy bodies and really helping us shift. Now, while this energy is not backing off by any means, it is definitely not as strong right now in these past couple of days as it had been from around the middle of March until the end of March. But I do want to talk about that energy, and I do want to make it clear from what I've been getting through my channels with our galactic brothers and sisters and my higher self and our guides and all of that, that this is just a little bit of a pause in the energy to allow us to assimilate all the new stuff that has happened in March. A lot of people are waking up to some things that are going on in the sky that maybe didn't make sense previously, and now they're finding a little bit more clarity. There's a lot of people researching and realizing that there's a lot more going on than we're being told. So a lot of people are kind of sitting in this energy, okay, well, what do I believe? Who do I believe? And I think it's really important that we all just stay in our connected space. We just keep coming back to our connection and what we know to be true, because the truth will always reveal itself. And that's one thing that Auxil, my higher self, keeps telling me. I have spent probably the last 3 days, not in a vibrational dip per se, but I've been very heady and trying to figure out what's right and what's real. I've been given a lot of information about our skies and our solar system and what's going on, and I'm kind of channeling this information in. And then I am being very human and going straight to the internet and trying to find proof and trying to validate what I'm getting. And, you know, when it comes to the heightened energy work that we're doing right now compared to what a lot of the sleepy society is talking about and seeing, we're kind of up against this doomsday energy, and I don't want any part of that. So I kind of get into this space, okay, well, what's real? How do I figure this out? How do I find out the truth? And, you know, Auxil keeps saying, come back, come back, come back. Don't get too far away. Stay here with me. I'm giving you new pieces of energy. I'm giving you new bits of information. Just sit with them and let them reside within you until you can get the validation that you need. I apologize. Just like some of you, my animals have been off the wall lately, just jumping around and playing like never before and being very vocal. I have one that's always very vocal, but he's been more so lately than kind of ever before. So there's just a lot of new energy coming in, and I want to talk about this right now because I just think it's a really good reminder for all of us. I know some light workers are feeling a little bit let down by, the dates and projections and prophetic type visions that were being talked about in these time frames. And one thing that I've gotten continuously is that we're manifesting this. The light is here. And this light is just kind of sitting right around the earth, beginning to penetrate the earth with its outstretches of energy. And the bulk of it is still coming. And just like the things that are being said in Allison Coe's QHHT sessions and some of the other people, Fluburn and some of the other people that are bringing in this information, it's impacting us now. Yes, it is. And some people may see these openings as the actual event, but the event has not shown up yet. And as someone who carries source love energy within this earthly realm, it's ever increasingly so important to continue to hold that light, because we're attracting it. We're bringing it into the earth. If we get sucked up in these dates and these times, like some of the people around us, oh, that's not going to happen. They said this in 2012. They said this here. They said this there. Then you add resistance to this new world that we are creating. And you too have to understand, and I believe most of you do, we're not the only ones in the universe. There are many beings that are attracting this light into the earth so that the entirety of the multiverse can continue its expansion. This is not just an earthly ascension. This is the ascension of the entire universe that's being amped up increasingly right now. While we are of the lower vibratory states of the multiverse, and I think that's why there's so much attention and focus on us from galactic brothers and sisters. They want us to rise up because it's almost like a slingshot. It's like once the earth kind of lets go of this density, we're really going to be propelled forward. And I think that's a huge portion of this light energy coming in. There are beings that are coming from all around the universes to experience this and see this through with us and add to the light, and help us usher it in. So Auxil is telling me to pay attention to the sky, which I'm doing, and the things that don't make sense, like our chemtrail clouds or, just things that you're seeing that you normally don't see, that nobody's really talking about. Don't find resistance in that. Find the love in that, because these are all signs of these coming changes. And it's really important for us to stay in a space of hopeful expectation, knowing expectation, loving expectation, that we all are being guided to this for a reason. I saw a video yesterday where there was a young lady saying, this is just this big cosmic joke that the universe is playing on us. And I giggled, because I thought to myself, darling, you're the one creating this cosmic joke, and your joke is on you, because this is real. This energy is real. God doesn't play jokes like that. God doesn't set you up for disappointments. That's the source energy of a man-made God. That is not the energy of this all-loving light source energy that I know to be true, and that most of you know to be true as well. So, with the naysayers running rampant, stay true to what you feel in your heart. If you know that this energy is still coming for you, then it is so. And I know that it is still coming for all of us. So it must be so. The next topic I want to get into is, I was speaking with another light worker this morning, and a beautiful question came up, is contrast really necessary? And for those of you who study the laws of attraction and know a little bit about Abraham Hicks, one of the things that they speak of frequently is resistance and contrast and being in an allowing state. And being in your allowing state is being aligned with all that you know to be true. And being in a resistant state is having blockages and having thoughts that are not lined up with all that is. And the contrast are those things that manifest in our life that will show up and say, you know, this is not what you want, choose differently. So a lot of people are experiencing contrast in the ways of breakups and sickness and money problems and, you know, not enjoying their work, not enjoying maybe their home life or their family life. And so this contrast is showing up in a lot of big ways for people right now. And I think we all can help each other by looking at this contrast as a guiding light, per se. You know, one of the things that I had mentioned to her was start to use contrast as a synonym for choice. As our vibration continues to rise through this ascension process, your contrast will dwindle because you're not going to need to get beat over the head with energy for you to say, okay, this is what I choose that's best for me. If you're struggling with boundaries with people, if you're struggling speaking your truth, all of these things where you have this internal guidance saying, you know, those nudges, that intuition saying that you need to speak up for yourself, or, you know, if somebody's being really negative, then you just choose to no longer be around them regardless of who they are. But if you keep overpowering that guidance and you keep going back to experience that energy, you know, maybe you have a toxic friend and you really don't want to hang out with them, but every time they call you feel bad, so you go anyway. Or that applies to family members also. Or, you know, maybe you're in a job that you really hate and you can't gather your thoughts to find ways to think differently and manifest differently. So you just sit in this, oh, I hate this place, I don't want to be here. All of that contrast is going to continue to grow until it beats you over the head one day and says, okay, enough's enough. Now, here's the thing. Does it need to get to that point? Absolutely not. We can catch these contrasting moments, these choices, in the earlier stages, and we can choose to not go there. We don't have to spiral down the rabbit hole anymore. It's just not necessary. You know enough now to make these different choices in the beginning. So if you wake up and you're having a wonderful day and you're enjoying your coffee and you get an email from somebody and your gut is saying, oh my God, I don't want to talk to them, then you know what? You just accidentally missed that email today and you don't talk to that person and you go about your life. There are ways to, I don't want to say avoid, because avoid is not the thing. There are ways to go around the contrast so that you can continue to build momentum in the good feeling spaces, so that when you are put in places where you have no choice but to deal with some of these things, you can do it from the highest vibrational output that you have access to at that time. And I think this is really important. I think it's really important to know that you don't have to feel bad. You don't have to go into these places where things ache and hurt and sickness and sadness. You don't have to do that, you know. And a lot of this goes along too when I'm speaking to other light workers or people who are trying to begin this path. When it comes to changes, you know, a lot of spiritual workers believe that you have to do what's called this shadow work, or you have to work through your roughage and your childhood or your divorce or all of these things that hurt you and broke you. And I'm here and Source is here to say, no, you don't. You don't have to rehash and relive these things to get to the next level. The name of the game is, and always has been, letting go. Release it. It doesn't serve you anymore. It served its purpose then to build you into this person who wants the things that you want now. But that doesn't mean that you have to relive it to learn some lesson, to dig something out of it, some nugget out of it, so that you can have this greater understanding. Clarity doesn't come from confusion. Clarity doesn't come from pain. Clarity comes from alignment. So if you truly want to learn the lesson, if that's something that's important to you, and anything that's occurred in your life, you don't have to dig into the pain and rehash. You need to grow out of it. You need to let it go. You need to move on. You need to move forward. And in those moments of moving forward, Source is going to give you the clarity of that which you've been asking for. And in that moment, you will have this breath of fresh air. Everybody says crying is a release. And while yes, it is, I've been there myself too. You don't need to cry to release. Sometimes you can just let it go and not think about it anymore and say, I'm not going there. I'm not doing that anymore. That doesn't matter to me anymore. And in your continued motion forward, you will have a moment when Source will show you the divinity and whatever experience you had lived that will bring you such clarity that you will understand your place in the world in that moment so clear that it is undeniable, and it will propel you forward so much greater than if you were to rehash and dig and relive those experiences that don't feel good. And this too goes along with ascension proofs, these things that we call ascension symptoms in our bodies. We don't have to experience those. We experience those because we're just raising our vibration and raising our vibration gradually. But we can also, in the moment, choose to let that go, because there are times when you have a really beautiful day, when things are just flowing and flying and everything's amazing, and you don't have a headache that day. You're not tired that day. Your knees aren't hurting that day because you're not grounding enough. So know that while, yes, the teachings of contrast have served us in the past on our journey through this spirituality and this awakening and all of this, and it did serve its place for a time. And I'm sure for some people who are sleepy and on their path to waking up, this does still serve purposes for them. Know that it doesn't have to be your experience. You can choose outside of the confines of this. The new energies that are coming to the earth right now, that are here on the earth right now, they are way beyond pain and suffering. They are way beyond the traditional sense of experiencing contrast. So go within and meditate on these concepts and see what your higher self tells you. See what your higher self gives you. Because what my higher self is giving me, and what our galactic brothers and sisters keep bringing in with all this information, is that we don't need to suffer in density to find our alignment. And I think that is a very beautiful thought for today. So, if you have any questions, y'all can feel free to email me, energeticalchemist@gmail.com. I am sending you all love and light, and my wish for you is that going forward, you are more sensitive in your choices so that you don't have to manifest contrast. Because we all have that ability. We all have that choice. It just depends on what serves you best. And you get to choose that too. So I love you all so much. I hope you have a beautiful Wednesday. Take care.